What is going on, guys? Hope you guys are doing well. I am here with Hitomi, one of my students. She has scaled her channel to 28,000 subscribers roughly in the last 45 days, and she scaled her channel on the highest day. I believe you mentioned it was $240 a day, right?
Yep, that's right.
And her channel's already generated $3,000, and it's really cool because her channel's making anywhere from $50 to $100 a day. So I'm very, very excited for Hitomi because, this is just her channel just starting off, and in the last 45 days, seeing these type of results. So I'm very excited to see where the next few months are going to land for her. But I just want to bring her on today to kind of share her story, why she decided to get started in YouTube automation, why she decided to work with us. This way you can hear real time, real people, and what motivated them to actually get started. So he told me, would love to hear some feedback from you as to
Yeah.
what motivated you to reach out in the first place, and what was the driving force to get started like YouTube automation.
Yeah. Thanks, first of all, for having me on. I appreciate that. I appreciate you celebrating my wins. Let's see. I had 30 years in tech and I was laid off from
Mm,
my job last summer.
mm,
Um, and it's been a lovely little fun employment, but I knew right at the beginning that I was going to have to try to find a way to make some money. I didn't necessarily want to go back to corporate America. And the universe finds me, right? I'm sure one of your ads found me on Instagram and I was like, well, let me check this out. So I did. And I thought, okay, if this actually can work, then why not give it a try? I've got the time, so let's give it a try. So that's what I did. I was looking for a way to find another way to have income that was non-standard, not part of corporate America,
mm.
and creative. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And like, you know, whenever you're exiting out of, corporate America, I'm sure there's a lot of fears, there's a lot of apprehensions. What were some initial apprehensions that you have getting started in online business or even reaching out and working with us?
The fear of the unknown, right? Like trying to do something that you've never done before.
Yeah.
I've always recognized that, I'm not just mindlessly scrolling on Instagram. Like I can appreciate the content that
Yeah.
the creative process to get into content. Like I'm always like dazzled by, someone's creative edit or so. So it's always been sort of an interest, but this was like opportunity to, like it's a blessing in disguise, right? I actually believe that I manifested my displacement. That's what they call it, my
Mm,
layoff, because I was miserable there. And I
mm,
thought, well, why not try to work for myself? And then this came through. And I think I made an appointment to talk to somebody, and they were really on top of reaching out to me. And
mm,
I just thought, what do I have to lose, right?
mm.
This is where I was at. Like, what do I have to lose? I can learn a new skill and maybe make some money, or I've just learned a new skill. I felt like it was a time for me to try something new, and it felt really exciting to start.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. That's awesome. And there's probably 10,000 other business models out there. I'm sure you've probably seen a few other ads from other people. Like, what
I've tried a
specifically?
few of those, Paul.
Yeah, like, and I personally have too. So, like,
Yeah.
what specifically about YouTube automation like stood out to you of like, hey, this is the one that I want to personally put my time and attention into?
Well, I think it was the stats that I heard, and it was either in the ad or it was with the conversation with the person that I met about how much money
Mm,
YouTube is paying people.
mm,
Like, I mean, I understand that there's money out there, like there's ads. Like, when I was with corporate America, I was in web development, but more of like a back end server, but like always
mm.
with like web. Like, so I've seen like the internet like evolve and ad space and how you do, so I'm like, I know people are getting paid with these ads, but I didn't realize how much money. And I'm like,
Yeah.
why not give some of that to me? You know what I'm saying? Why not go get some of that? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. It's actually crazy like how many people are getting on YouTube, and even like kids that are getting paid millions of dollars just by posting like simple videos.
Right. For
Um,
sure.
so and I can see why you want to get started in YouTube automation, but like what specifically about me or a program made you decide to join? What was the thing that like gave you the assurance or the green light to say, hey, I I'm ready to rock and roll. I'm ready to invest the next few months of my life to really learn and grow in this?
Well, I'll be honest. I think that your story of your strife,
Mm,
your dad passing away. I was 16 and shopping for my mom when she couldn't work anymore.
mm,
So like, I had to figure out how to hustle and find a skill so that I could help her with the mortgage. I mean, I was on the mortgage when I was 21. So like
wow.
I found there was just a thread in your story that seemed to like go right to me in my
Mm,
heart, and I was like, okay,
mm,
um, if this young fella has figured out how to persevere and get in there and figure it out, and like when I'm like knocking my head about like wanting to cry in my coffee after like knowing that my niche was maybe not the best and all of that, and I'm like, that's okay, you just find the next one, right? And
yeah.
then I found success with another team. So I think it was, honestly, it was you sold me
Mm,
on it. I had never talked to you, but I
wow.
felt like I knew you from your story, and I
Wow.
think it was like the intro video, right? So I appreciated you telling me about how it is you got here, what it is you did, the sacrifices that you're for you. I'm gonna get a little teary, but like you
Wow.
taking care of your mom. Like I took care of my mom. She was bedridden for 15 years until she passed away. And so part of me is like, the only thing I can do now for her is to lead a good life. My kids
Mhm.
are almost through college. I'm like, I don't want to go back to corporate America because I don't have to, if I can find another way to to make a living. There are
Yeah.
other creative ways that don't involve a W-2. So why not this? So yeah, so you sold me on it. That's who sold me on it. You
Wow.
sold me on it. Yeah.
Wow. That is so powerful. Like I'm getting like chills just like talking to you right now because sometimes I'm in the day to day and there's so many things going on, but like to hear
Yeah.
people's stories and your story, like it makes me want to like, man, work even harder, put in more hours, and make sure everyone wins because it's just, I mean, all of us do something. We don't just build businesses because we want to just build businesses or
Right.
make money.
Right.
There's a means to an end. There's a
Right.
reason behind why we make money. So I love
That's
to
right.
hear that why it's really really motivating. So you know, um, like what would you tell yourself, back then, knowing what you know right now after joining the program, after making your first few dollars, what words can you let that version of yourself know before you got started in business?
Um, I would tell myself to not be the person who just sits back, to
Mm,
to actually engage more,
mm,
interact more, connect with your coaches more. I feel like I'm really good at thinking I've got it figured out, and then I'm just like a machine, right? I'm like,
yeah,
I know how to do this. I'm creating this. I've got ChatGPT. I'm creating a script, and and I'm doing all of these things. But then I went and banged out 12 videos before I asked for like an official channel review. Like,
right.
I had done the launch and then we'd gone over the first one, but I waited too long, and then
Yeah,
all these little videos are like your babies, and then you feel all like someone called it ugly and you're like, that's my baby.
yeah,
But
yeah.
you know what I'm saying, you can still
Uh,
love an ugly baby, but this ugly baby is not going to make you money. So let's just be real. So what I would tell myself is, engage sooner. Don't be afraid to ask questions. There's no dumb questions. And yeah, get with your coaches early and often. That's it. That would be my advice to myself. Yeah.
awesome, awesome. And after reaching where you have right now in a short period of time, I mean, making your first few dollars online for me was one of the best feelings ever, So after seeing like that it's possible, how do you currently feel right now? Bringing in 50 to $100 a day, day 240 bucks right now. I mean, you've already been monetized the last 45 days. I mean,
Yeah.
think about 6 months, 12 months from now. How do you feel about your trajectory?
Well, I feel like it's kind of slow and steady right now. So isn't that interesting how quickly it changes? Like literally the moment I made monetization, I lost my mind. Like it's so exciting, right? And then you apply and then you're waiting for the response. And all of a sudden you've got real analytics to look at. And then you're like, oh my gosh, there's money in my AdSense account. Like it's all like the first dollar, I don't know what it was, like, $19 that ends up in your AdSense account. You're like, that is like manna from heaven, right? You just feel so excited.
Yeah.
And so, but then you're like, okay, check, I've done that. And now you're like, how do I make this really start rolling? So, I'm still in that phase. I need to figure out how to get it to where, it hasn't replaced my corporate salary yet. So like I'm realistic about that, but also how do I get it there? So
Yeah.
okay, so maybe I've done that, but now what else? It's always what's next. How do I get better? How do I improve this? How do I, is this the niche for me? Do I need another niche? Do I focus on this one? So there's lots of, how do I make it better? How do I get it and grow it to a place where I can actually make more money? And so that's where I'm at. I'm excited. I'm excited to stick with it now that I've figured, like I've proven my proof of concept. Check. You can make money
Yeah.
with YouTube. Now it's, how do I make more money with YouTube? That's where I'm at.
Absolutely. And I love that you have the mindset, because it's always the people with the growth mindset that I see succeed the most in any business, whether it be YouTube or whether it be Shopify, whether it be Amazon, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
Always the people that's always like, what's next? What's next? And like always be content, but like, hey, like how can we push further? Right. So that's definitely awesome to hear. Now, there's gonna be a lot of people watching this,
Oh,
and like, like people in your position in the past, maybe people in corporate 9 to 5, and that were in the same position that you were, or maybe just got laid off, right? What advice or encouragement could you give them as they begin their journey into online business, into YouTube automation, to help them succeed?
yeah, it's interesting. You have to be self-motivated, right? Like in corporate America, I mean, not the last place I was at, but like in corporate America, there's usually, you've got all these middle managers and you've got people up here who are setting the direction, and it all trickles down, and, someone there to tell you what to do. Um, Being in business for yourself is a completely different animal, right? I had done other businesses before, right? So I had been a real estate agent, right, before the mortgage meltdown happened, right? So, and then I was in tech when the dot-com bubble burst. So,
Wow.
switched to real estate, back to tech when it came back. And so it's, you got to change your mind. There's no one, when you're in business for yourself, no one is going to do it for you. Yes, you're there. The curriculum's there. The lessons are there. The coaching calls are there. The coaches are there to answer your questions. The daily drop when you're asking your questions, that's nice. You can pop that in there. You're going to get an answer later, but you've got to attend those meetings. You've got to stay plugged into the community. You have to figure out what your niche is. You have to go and do that research on YouTube. You got to go hire your team. Like no one's going to do that for you. For me, for someone who has been in corporate America, who has never worked for themselves, I think the mindset is the biggest part. There is no one. You got to save your own self. You got to get your own life preserver. You know what I mean? Like you have to, you just have to do it. Just do it. But then it doesn't just magically happen. You literally have to sit down and plan your day. So yeah, it's not for the faint of heart. I'll tell you that. Like not just the Freedom Accelerator program, but just being in business for yourself in general. It's not for the faint of heart. You can't. It's all on you, but you can't do it alone. You got to tap into the resources and your team and ask questions and find someone who's already done it and pick their brain. And yeah, it takes a village to run your own business, but you're ultimately the one who's got to get it done. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Cool. And, also for sharing that. And thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story. We're very, very excited to see you grow and continue this. And
Thank you.
Is there any last words that you have for everyone here before we end this off?
No, I just think that when life hands you lemons, you can make lemonade. I decided I was just going to make videos, so here I am.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I think I saw it on your school.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what? That's a good bit. I got a lot of laughs from like
Yeah.
people who were like, following my posts, and I was just like, yeah, man, I'm gonna stick with that one. But literally, when life hands you lemons, yeah, make videos. That's me.
That's awesome. Cool. Well, thank you guys so much. You guys heard it here first. A real story, a real person
Yeah.
along the journey, and she's still growing, month after month. We're gonna get her to $5,000, $10,000 per month consistently. So
Yes, let's
very, very
do it.
excited for you, Hitomi. So
Thank
cool.
you. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.